The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and are not those of WKYU-TV, its management, or WKU.
All right, TopperTalk back in the house on this Monday night. Obviously, somewhat of the same crew. We have a different person in the house.
I'm new.
Yeah, he's new. We got Alex. He's in the house. But you're usually behind the camera.
Yeah, I'm usually over
there. But now you're making your grand TV debut because you are graduating and you got to be upgraded and all that stuff.
Got to try new things.
Yeah, try new things. So we throw you live on there and you're going to act like you know something about sports, right?
A little bit. I'll try. I'm pretty good at faking things sometimes, so we'll see how that goes.
Of course, myself, Sean Williams, Woody White here, and of course, Alex Heath will be joining us for the show. And Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started. Let the people know who you are.
Well,
Stand up for yourself.
I am a strong sports fan, which is why I got convinced to get put on here today.
That's not what I heard.
Really?
Not what my sources say.
Man, that's disappointing. It's really disappointing. I do get to graduate this Saturday, which is really exciting.
Awesome.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to spending some time with family for holidays. I'm always a big family person. Enjoy the holidays coming up around the corner. Looking forward to trying to find a job afterwards and all kinds of fun stuff.
The great times. Oh,
yeah. Oh, definitely.
What was your major while you were here?
I was a broadcast news major.
Okay.
Because it's almost done now.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost in the rearview mirror, right?
It's almost done.
All right. Well, happy to have you on the show. Like I said, he's usually behind the camera, and today he is in front of it. So
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, we'll try to break you in slowly, and hopefully nothing will go wrong. Just don't spill any water like Shane Bearden.
Yeah, Shane is usually that one. That's his job.
And speaking of Shane Bearden, he broke the law.
Come on, Shane.
A little bit. He broke the law a little bit. Speeding. He did a Jadavian Clowney. And he had to go to traffic school tonight. He could not reschedule, so Shane is not here with us to hang out and talk sports. So
I feel like we always get to air out Shane's dirty laundry on camera.
It's one of the great things about the show when
he's not watching.
here.
Exactly.
But fortunately, my streak continues, so I've not missed a show yet. So.
Got the Iron Man,
just throw that in there. That's right. That's right. So let's get things started. Of course, the big news for WKU is we got snubbed on the bowls, man.
Yeah.
What happened? 8-4, and we didn't get picked. Thoughts, guys? This is where you go in.
Come
on, Alex.
Well, we were informed that they had some of the GoDaddy.com Bowl representatives were here for the last game. I think that
even though, sham, man.
Even though we played well and we did beat Arkansas State, who did get a bowl, I think that the lack of attendance played a factor in that game. And Arkansas State also had a better strength of schedule, non-conference schedule than we did, and they were co-conference champions. With Lafayette. So I think that was all those kind of played a part in it.
It actually really worked out for Arkansas State because, Lafayette kind of failed a little bit there at the end, lost to South Alabama this past weekend, and that caused Arkansas State to be co-champs. But you bring up a good point, attendance. Maybe they saw the attendance here and weren't that impressed. But I think a lot of it had to do not just the attendance here, but I think, Arkansas State being at the GoDaddy.com Bowl last year and traveling well. I think they had like 25,000 people there. So, I think they really took that into consideration, too. It's like, hey, Arkansas State fans travel well. Not really sure how these WKU fans are going to do. But I think we did really well last year at the Little Caesars Bowl, when you consider the situations and everything like that. So it's just one of those where the bowl committees, they're going to come up here, they're going to be wearing their suits and their, sport coats and all that stuff. But really, I think, ultimately when it comes down to bowl committees, they want butts in seats. And Arkansas State was probably the best option for that.
It's such a crapshoot, the whole bowl system. I heard, going into the game against Arkansas State that the GoDaddy.com Bowl was here and whoever won our game with them would get the invitation. Obviously, that didn't work out because they invited the losing team.
So I say, man, it's a sham.
But, man, it's crazy. But, yeah, like you said, it's all based on money and how they can get enough people there. And, unfortunately, WKU just hadn't proved that, we can put the butts in the seats yet. And we're getting there, making progress. Our attendance has increased each year. I think it's up close to around 19,000 for every game this year, which, that's great numbers compared to what it was, a few years ago. But
getting better.
Still a building process. And, I think as we get forward into our next couple of years, you'll see us, keep improving with that for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a surprise to a lot of people that they chose, Arkansas State over us, despite the fact that we beat them. But like I said, I know Todd Stewart kind of mentioned that in his press conference that he kind of wanted to make an announcement and was kind of kind of negotiating for them to make an announcement to pick the winner of the game between them and WKU, and they didn't want to do that. And they kind of wanted to they said they wanted to take the conference co-champion, which really it turned out to be Arkansas State at the end, but that was only after Lafayette lost to South Alabama. So, like I said, it's all about, butts and seats and money and things like that. And they just didn't want to really take a chance on WKU, obviously, when they knew that Arkansas State fans would travel really well. So, it's just the way it is. And also, Todd Stewart kind of brought up the fact that you had more bowl at-large teams available from BCS bowls, so that was also a major factor as well. You take, Independence Bowl, I think they took a Pac-12 team. Little Caesars took Pittsburgh, ACC team that is, 4 hours away, and obviously they have, wins over Notre Dame and Duke, pretty significant wins, but also at the same time, Western Kentucky has pretty significant wins. I think we beat 4 bowl-eligible teams this year, so that's the most we've ever had, I think, ever since we've been in FBS era. And to do that in one season was pretty good, just achievement for them. So, a lot of factors you kind of look at, and just kind of the way the cookie crumbles whenever you consider we're in the Sun Belt Conference, we only have 2 bowl tie-ins. So
yeah, you look at the fact that 7 Sun Belt teams are bowl eligible and 5 of us are sitting at home. That's kind of the nature of the beast in the Sun Belt Conference. When we knew that going into it, and it's just
why you want to get out.
Yeah, the exciting thing about going forward. Hopefully
don't get Carl Benson mad. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Carl Benson. But yeah, as we move into Conference USA, hopefully this is going to be a thing of the past where we get these snubs. It could pop up, I guess. But if you're 8-4 in Conference USA, you're going to a bowl.
Well, you do the mathematics too. You look at Sun Belt Conference, kind of the lower tier conference, obviously, and you got 79 teams available for 70 slots in bowl games. So, and also brought up the fact that you have 4 at-large teams from BCS conferences. Yeah. So obviously the bowl committees are going to pick those teams over teams from the Sun Belt or even Conference USA. You saw, another point to bring up. I mean, Florida Atlantic was, had 6 wins and was bowl eligible as well, and they didn't get picked for a bowl. Now, a lot of people are going to be saying, well, I thought Conference USA had a perfect record, but you got to realize all these things will actually change next year. Actually, Sunbelt's going to have more bowl tie-ins. I think they're going to have like 4 or 5. And in Conference USA, I think they have 6 right now. I think it's going to be expanded to about 9. So you got to really, consider all that. I mean, Sunbelt's going to get better. Carl Benson's really doing a good job with the Sunbelt. But, Western Kentucky's got to do what we got to do. We got to go up to Conference USA if we're extended that invite, and that's what we're doing. And obviously, big difference, say we're 8-4, or we have a better record next year. Big difference between next year and this year is Todd Stewart really didn't have to sell us. Yeah. We're going to have a bowl, regardless of where we, if we're 8-4 or better, we don't have to worry about that. We're going to be in a bowl game, and, we ain't got to sweat it. We ain't got to get on the phone and sell people. We ain't got to, give them, extend briefcases of money or whatever we got to do, man,
Action speaks louder than words.
Right. Yeah. So, what you guys got any more thoughts?
Well, I think, while we did, it is very disappointing that we didn't get that bowl bid. There's still some things that we can be proud of for how this team played this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
definitely, yeah.
I mean, Antonio Andrews just had a ridiculous career, here, and he said a tweet out earlier that I saw that, thanking all the fans and the school for really a great time here. But it's about breaking his own record, for rushing yards. He set the record last year, breaks it again, led the nation in all-purpose yards again, which I saw earlier today actually put him into 17th all-time for all-purpose yards. That's pretty good for Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
But the team's had a lot of new records. Attendance is, as you mentioned earlier, continuing to get better. And as we play tougher competition, better games, and continue to play well, I think we'll only get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to build on going into next year. We can be a little disappointed with how the first half of the season went. But the second half of the season, we were a very good football team, I think. Yeah. And, it's sort of Petrino's MO as in other schools he's been. His first season, they're a good team, but adjusting to him being the coach. And the second year is when they really take off. So, we lose a lot of really good players, but we still return a lot of really good players too. So I'm looking forward to next year. I think, hopefully we'll make that jump with Petrino, and, who knows what our record could be next year for sure.
Really, you guys bring up good points. Made really good strides, and it's like you said, you bring up a good point too, Woody. It took this team a a while to kind of get adjusted to Petrino's system. I mean, you're learning a new offensive system, you're learning a new defensive system, you got a whole bunch of new coaches. It takes time to really learn that, and we kind of saw that at the beginning of the season. Struggled a little bit, had the big, 7-turnover game against Tennessee. It was very ugly, and then we had, of course, the surprising loss at South Alabama, who really, I mean, honestly, South Alabama was really a surprise team in the Sun Belt.
They ended up bowl eligible too. I mean,
Yeah.
you hate to lose to a team that's that new to, the FBS, but
Knocked off Lafayette too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, knocked off Lafayette 30-8 this past weekend. That's how Arkansas State got the co-conference champion. So, but you saw a lot of strides being made. I think they won 7 of the last 9 games, 4 in a row. So they finished hot, and really unfortunate that they didn't get into a bowl game, considering all the accomplishments that you mentioned, Alex, with Antonio Andrews. You also had Brandon Dowdy put together a nice passing season, and the best all time. And guys, say what you will, he had a lot of interceptions or whatever, but he really calmed that down middle of the season on.
I think
you
that
really
was
kind
just
of
part
see
of that learning curve. That you mentioned,
exactly. And you got to think 5 of those interceptions came against Tennessee. So back when the learning process was still relatively new. So, but he obviously got better as the season went on. Kind of got accustomed to the offense and ran it quite well. And a lot of things to really look forward to. And for this football team, it's really sad to kind of see, just from the aspect of not going to a bowl game, for these players like Antonio Andrews to get rewarded, and the seniors especially, considering what all they did. And you got to really think this is, of all the last 3 years we've been bowl eligible, and even Todd Stewart said this. I thought we were really worthy this year of going.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily last year, even though we went, because we just stumbled down the stretch. We got off to a hot start, 5-1, and we kind of stumbled a little bit down the stretch. But even 2 years ago when we went finished the season 7-1, only losing to LSU. I mean, I thought we were really worthy to go to a bowl game there. But just kind of goes to show you, we're in Sun Belt. Sun Belt only has 2 bow tie-ins. Going to get overlooked a lot of times. So, but you got to give as much as we kind of make fun of Carl Benson on here, not necessarily for just him, period, just the way he dresses, the bright orange shirts and everything like that, the polos, and rocking
Craig Sagler,
rocking the shades inside like a 20-year-old, trying to put out the vibe in the club. Carl Benson did do a really good job of trying to get an extra team get a Sun Belt team into bowls. I mean, there was a article on Yahoo Sports from Dr. Saturday that really kind of talked about Carl Benson and kind of interviewed him and said, hey, the Sun Belt article was based around the Sun Belt giving him a pool of money, and it kind of sounds like a mafia type of thing, doesn't it?
under the
that pool of money, man, a briefcase. But obviously he had like X amount of dollars, and he was trying to really politic and lobby for the Independence Bowl and Little Caesars Bowl to really say, hey, I'll give you such and such amount and try to pick a Sun Belt team. Hopefully that Sun Belt team they were considering was Western. Obviously, Todd Stewart said, they were probably runner-up for the Little Caesars and runner-up for the Independents as well. But obviously, we kind of said this before we came on air, Carl Benson kind of inherited the situation that the Sun Belt's in right now as far as bowl tie-ins and everything like that. And obviously, we just said it earlier, it's going to improve next year, which is really good. Yeah. Obviously, we'll be gone, so it don't matter. But
all the people were leaving.
Exactly. As much as we kind of knock and make fun of Carl Benson, but he really did a good job. I thought that was really cool that, he attempted to get another Sun Belt team in there, because obviously he thought that other Sun Belt teams were worthy, and hopefully he thought we were worthy as well, even though we're exiting to go to Conference USA. But I think he has a lot of love for Western Kentucky on that front. So, but it's just sad to see the seniors go out like that. But like I said, it's the way the cookie crumbles, like you said, Woody, and that's just kind of the way the bowl system works. Sometimes we get let out, and you saw it last year with Middle Tennessee, and even, Louisiana Tech. I mean, they had 9 wins, but their situation was a little bit different. I think the athletic director had maybe some animosity toward Louisiana Monroe and didn't want to play them in the bowl game. Y'all don't remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Come on.
I think it's the biggest surprise as far as all the factors that are played in for bowl selections is usually, the what have you done for me lately is a factor that plays, and the fact that we had won 4-0 was really, I thought, to me, our biggest push that would get us a spot. Yeah. But it didn't, so I mean. Yeah,
it's like you said. I mean, a lot of factors play into it, not just how you finish and necessarily being the hot team. It's what other teams are out there, and like I said, some more teams are out there from bigger conferences, and obviously
9 extra spots and 9 extra teams in their own spots.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind kind of a battle royale for those 70 spots when you got 79 teams. So nine are going to be left out regardless. So unfortunately, it was just us this year. But hopefully in the future, going to Conference USA, like I said, we will not have to worry about that, which will be a good thing.
Chances you would think of
Yeah.
being snubbed if
Yeah.
a similar record.
Yeah. So obviously a very successful year, and a lot of good things to come. Obviously, we could bring up some coaching searches going on. Any rumors out there? You think Petrino's going to stay? You think he's going to go?
Nah, I feel like his name's going to come up for every job. But
That's what rumors are about, man.
yeah, it was. I forgot what day it was, but somebody talking about how he was at Washington the other day, interviewing for their job, and then Chad Bishop finds out that he's actually in his office at Smith Stadium, working. And
I think he was just drinking some Starbucks.
that's
or
just the way it
something.
goes, I guess,
Somebody
yeah.
kind of assumed that he was in Seattle.
But
Hey, man, you got a Starbucks cup, man. You went to Seattle,
you've
didn't
been
you?
to Seattle. You want to take that job?
That job's open.
But I think if we're going to see some pretty good schools jobs open up, I think so. I think his name's going to be thrown around. I think we get him for at least one more year.
Yeah.
Just sort of my gut feeling.
I would,
But,
you
never
kind of
know, I
say
guess.
you kind of say good schools being open. I mean, what do you see? Because I don't really see a lot of really good name schools
well-
opening up that would really entice him to actually leave here.
Yeah, I mean the Texas situation, but I think Texas is going to be looking for someone a little different than
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about Petrino being kind of an SEC guy. I don't, all the SEC jobs opened up last year.
Definitely
so
ain't going to go to Mississippi
he's
State.
not going to go to Mississippi State.
I
surely.
hope not.
So I think we're sitting in pretty good shape where we'll get him to stick around another year.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's like I kind of mentioned already. I don't really think there's going to be a real good job out there, like eye-popping job that he would really want to leave here for. Why leave and stay here and keep building what he's got here and kind of rebuild his name and his image as well. I mean, obviously had a good season this year, and you got to think if having another year under the belt and having the scheme and everything like that, the players are used to it. Got to think next year is going to be looking really good. Considering he can keep the staff intact. I know Brahm's name's kind of been mentioned for Florida Atlantic and a couple other jobs, so it'd be interesting to kind of keep an eye out on that. And I know Neil Callaway, the offensive line coach, he's been kind of mentioned at Florida as well to kind of take over the offensive line position there too. So it'd be interesting to see if any coaching changes happen. I don't necessarily see Petrino going anywhere, but you could see Brahm or Callaway or somebody like that go
You always get a
somewhere,
little
so.
bit of movement within the assistants, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it even happened whenever Petrino came last year. He hired his staff, and I think he had 2 or 3 people originally, come on board, and then after about a month or so, they went to other places. So it just, it's one of those things that happens. So definitely, I think Petrino will stay. I think Western Kentucky's kind of for football. I think we'll have another successful season and keep building the program. So 8 wins. I mean, during the regular season. That's a new first for this program in the FBS era. So I mean, that's something to really build toward. I mean, maybe a lot of people were thinking 9 wins, 10 wins, but maybe a little far-fetched, in the long run.
WKU fans tend to, especially in society the way it is now, we want results now, and we forget that it's just our 5th year of being
Yeah, I mean,
FBS
people already
school.
wanting to fire Ray Harper. I mean, come on, jeez.
We spent a whole other show on that.
But successful, and like I said, eight regular season wins, first time in WKU history in the FBS era. So obviously making strides, knocking down walls. So hopefully we'll knock down some more next year, have another successful season, and won't have to worry about whether we're going to a bowl or not because we'll be secured one. So
we were actually only one of 3 teams to do the transition that we did make. Only one of 3 teams to win at least 7 games in our 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, moving up from the FCS, along with Marshall and Nevada. So
you see, it's really hard to do because we talk about programs like South Alabama and Georgia State that are in the Sun Belt. I mean, Georgia State's only been a program for 4 or 5 years. So I mean, programs are making those jumps to FBS really quick, and it's hard for them to do. And obviously, Georgia State struggled, and I thought South Alabama would struggle a little bit, but obviously they're doing really good. So they got a good coaching staff and good athletes down there. So really good stat you put out there. You got some stats over there.
got to be good for something.
Anyway, we'll make the transition to hoops now, and if anybody wants to interact with us, of course, you can always go online if you're Twitter savvy at TopperTalk TV and give us a shout out, see what you think about Saturday's matchup against Louisville, and give us some thoughts on the WKU football season. But anyway, we're going to do a little rewind right now. Let's talk about WKU hoops from the past week. Obviously, they went 1-1 this past week. A tough loss at Bowling Green State. We were here Monday night for the Pledge Show.
If you watched the Pledge Show, you saw how we reacted to that game. It was not pleasant.
the reactions on their face are probably priceless and one of disgust. But yeah, they didn't play very good. Got off to a good start, 9-0. Got that 9-0 run to start off, but then after that, just really was hard to shoot it. It really wasn't really hard to shoot. It was really hard to hit something.
They were shooting.
We're good at shooting. We're just not very good at
shooting and
making
hitting.
sometimes.
But 2-3 zone was obviously a big problem. I mean, what did you guys see from that game?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're struggling with the zone right now for sure. The 9-0 run that we started out with came when they were playing man-to-man.
Yeah, exactly.
We looked great against man-to-man.
No coach called the timeout, made the adjustment, and hey, wait a minute.
We're still
2-3
learning,
zone?
You know, I think that's part of playing, Peyton Halsey, a true freshman point guard. I mean, great player. I'm thrilled with that we've got him, and I think he's going to be awesome for us. But he's still, adjusting to the college game, and I'm sure D1 college zones are a little bit different than the 2-3 zones you see in high school.
Yeah.
That's kind of in high school. It's kind of the defense you play if you can't play defense.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
You really can't shoot.
Yeah,
They played out Logan County a lot.
we may have matched up with that a few times back a couple years ago, but
Speaking of experience.
yeah, that's right. But it's a slow process learning how to do that, and we're making a few strides, but it's still a good ways to go against the zone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw it, Monday night whenever they were playing. We were here for the pledge show. I mean, it seemed like when the 2-3 zone, the offense was really stagnant. I mean, they were just standing around, passing the ball back and forth, and settling for just extremely long three-pointers. T.J. Price shot 23 shots, had 24 points. Great, you had 24 points, but you shot it 23 times.
16 of those.
Very Allen Iverson-esque performance there. AI used to score 55 points, but he shot it 45 times. I mean, come on, man.
Looking for that PER is pulling up very high.
But yeah, you definitely don't want to. You want a little bit more efficiency on the offensive end, and obviously struggling shooting has been our struggle so far this year as far as percentages and everything like that. And obviously showed up against Bowling Green State. Didn't seem like. That 2-3 zone, you're sitting there, your offense is stagnant. Nobody wanted to attack it. Nobody wanted to slash to that free throw line and grab a pass and have the defense collapse, throw it to the open guy or toss it to the inside guy. And nobody was really willing to do that. And, when you don't have anybody that's willing to do that, everybody's going to stand around and jack up threes. And that's not a really good, efficient offense unless you're hitting them.
We've seen the results of being inefficient there for sure.
Exactly. So definitely a bad loss. And really, I mean, you look at the way they played and the field goal percentages and not attacking the 2-3 zone, you only ended up losing about 12. So it wasn't really that bad.
And even still, fans on message boards and on the Twitter world and everything like to talk about how
You gotta stay off that stuff, man.
message boards are killing me, man. I swear.
Poison your mind,
But
man.
we're real quick to say a loss is a bad loss. But Bowling Green State took Xavier to overtime at Xavier this
That's
weekend.
true.
So
That's true.
sometimes just because a team doesn't have the biggest name in the college basketball world doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad team. So
I think everybody was really just kind of mad because, it's a battle of Bowling Greens and we lost.
we did. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, we lost, yeah.
Unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, kind of a bad loss there. But like I said, only lost by 12 despite the shooting performance and not attacking the 2-3 zone. And even Ben Lawson got in the mix a little bit. He had 24 minutes, scored 11 points. So, got to see the big guy from England get in there and get a little action. So, he was pretty productive during his time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things that Ray does as a coach. We've seen that, since, in early last season, early this season too. You want to win all the games, but you want to put the team in a position to where by the end of the season, we're going to be the best team that we can be. Mm-hmm. And we've seen guys like Ben Lawson, Brandon Price, Peyton Halsey that are getting tons of really valuable minutes this early in the season. And, this Saturday we get 2 new guys eligible, and the team will change a little bit. But you still got those guys on the bench that are going to have lots of valuable minutes and experience. So, as we get these 2 new guys with Chris Harrison Docks and Tracy Jackson eligible, and we start playing with the full deck of cards, so to speak, getting Caden Dickerson back from injury is going to be huge.
It'd be a whole new dynamic.
We're definitely going to be a very different team this Saturday than what we were even last Saturday. So.
Yeah. Speaking of last Saturday, of course, 69-60 win against Southern Illinois.
In the frigid weather.
You had a good
The frigid weather.
You had a good stat, Alex. Give us that scoring stat of Harris.
Oh yes,
Fant, and the DOE.
Yeah, we had 3 players score 60 of our 69 points, with Harris with 30, Fant with 19, and Lawson with 11.
Was it a DOE or Lawson?
Adeoye. Did I say Lawson?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You guys said Lawson a while ago with 11 points. I think
it's
I
all right, man. You're a big Ben Lawson fan. It's okay.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I wanted to go to, man. Was that I feel that both Lawson and Rostov could be so much more aggressive on the offensive end.
I think they can be. I think as the season goes on, we'll probably see them get a little bit more aggressive. I know Rostov's kind of been off to a shaky start so far this year. Obviously, people are expecting a lot more from him.
I was going to have a breakout year this year. I think he still can. There's still a lot of time left in the season.
Still a lot of time
We've
left.
seen a few flashes. I mean, the second half at Wichita State, he looked great.
Yeah.
And
They
then,
couldn't guard him
He was
for
only
5-6 minutes and a half.
He was really the only one that really wanted to score in the second
Right.
half for
I
Western.
think
So
the talent and skill was definitely there with him. It's just a matter of, working things out. It may be a mental thing with him right now, but, as you get to this point, this is always my favorite time of year to watch a basketball team once finals are over and there's not that many distractions around the team. They can just focus on basketball and growing as a team and getting better. So these next couple of weeks should be fun to watch.
So,
for sure.
and plus they played, they played 8 games so far together.
Yeah.
So, and then you got, 2 new dynamics coming into the roster. So, but Brandon Harris had a career night, 30 points, like you said, Alex, and 8 3-pointers. So, I mean, he was, thank God for Brandon Harris, right? I mean, 30 points,
Yeah, the only guy who actually is making consistent threes.
Yeah, that's right.
8 for 14 from downtown's a pretty good clip.
I'll take that just about every night, I think.
Yeah, it's a good clip, but obviously against Southern Illinois as well, they improved in their free throw percentage. They shot 77% from the line, which is really good.
Significantly better than
they've been struggling not only shooting the ball, but shooting the free ones as well.
Whether they were from 2 feet from the free throw line, 3-point land, didn't matter where it was from.
But obviously a good road win. Obviously, maybe you wanted 2, but you're going into a situation Saturday. You're playing one of the top teams in the nation, Louisville. How do you guys see that going? You got, like you said, Woody, Trincy, Jackson, Harrison Docks in the mix now.
I think the biggest thing that'll be different from last year's game to this year's game is the amount of depth we do have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We've got so much more depth and just experience guys that we only lost. One's a guy that played all season. We had Vasquez join us. As a defender, rebounder, athlete, just to come off, give us some more bodies. But
he played a lot of minutes too.
Just kidding. But Crook being the only significant loss from last year's team, we brought a lot of experience back and so much depth. And you're adding 2 guys back, and I think the current loss of Akamene is underrated because he's such a really good defender, athlete. And whenever we do that press, that full court trap press that we do, he's always out there at the front because he's so long and so quick. And we can't do that because there's nobody else on the roster, I think, that does that as well as he does.
That's a good point.
I agree. I think that is definitely an underrated part of the season right now because he's not going to fill a stat sheet with points, but like you said, his contributions are definitely missed for sure.
Hustle guy.
Yeah.
Hustle guys. We need a lot of hustle guys out there, especially Saturday. But it'll be an interesting dynamic when you got Harrison Docks and Jackson back and see how they all kind of mesh together with the rest of the team.
Really wish they had one more game to kind of get with the team before we go and play
they're into the deep end.
One more team against Brescia or somebody.
Yeah, anybody. Jeez.
But I mean, obviously a hostile environment, young center, and you're taking on one of the top teams in the nation, in Matino's Palace. So, I mean, how do you guys kind of see how the game goes?
I get the feeling they'll kind of be overlooking us a bit. Just Louisville seems to do that kind of. You look at how they played Louisiana Lafayette this weekend in the first half. Lafayette was a single-digit game at halftime, and then Louisville came out and didn't miss a shot for like 15 minutes and ended up winning by like 30. But I think
we can't have a run like that.
Yeah, we can't give up runs like that for sure, and we can't have our scoreless runs that we tend to have. But if we come out and play like we can, I think we can hang with them. I think they'll end up getting us eventually just because they're so deep and so talented with that depth. But I think we'll make a pretty good showing.
I agree. I think that we have the capability to play with them and make it a respectable game. But we can't go on. We can't turn the ball over 15, 16 times, and we've got to make better shots than 30%, 35% as a team.
Yeah.
And because if we do, if Louisville sees what we've done against the zone, Louisville's probably going to try to go to the zone at some point. If we do abuse the man-and-man like we did, I doubt we will to that extent against Louisville. Yeah. But you got to think Pitino, as intelligent of a coach that Pitino is, that he will try the zone to prevent us, and we've got to either make the shots or we've got to penetrate the zone. You can't just stand there and just jack up all the
exactly.
time. You've got to get in the lane.
Can't do like they did against Bowling Green State, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Right? But good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Breaking it down, and Alex, I appreciate you being on the show. As we're winding down here, we want to make an announcement that this will be our last show for the year. So you got commencement, everybody's graduating like you.
Woohoo!
So we're going to be busy here, but we'll be back after the new year, I think January 6th or so.
Hopefully with a lot of wins to
talk about. A lot of wins to talk about. So Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Happy Hanukkah.
Alex Heath, appreciate you joining us, and hopefully WKU can get that win on Saturday. So
Right.
go
Go
Tops.
Tops.
Next time on Frontline,
She said, I'm breaking up with him tonight.
a 911 call from an